So here's the thing. There are secrets about how to be psychic, but the only reason honestly that they are secrets are because we keep them from ourselves. We're hiding them from ourselves. Yeah, it's not about being more gifted or, more talented naturally than someone else. It's definitely not about being better than someone else. And yeah, honestly, that is a factor in some things in life. For example, being a professional athlete, you kind of need to be born with certain kinds of gifts and talents that then develop. But being psychic is a natural ability that everyone possesses. You possess it in the way that you possess it, but it is something that everyone possesses. It just has been hidden by unconscious matrix conditioning BS that we all receive. So, in this episode, I'm going to tell you how to tap into the secrets that open your psychic abilities and how to maintain your connection by manifesting prosperity and an aligned life. I mean, there must be some kind of secret that certain people know in order to be living a life of magic and abundance, right? Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe. And I am your host. My name is Tricia Carr. Nice to be here with you. I'm so excited to connect with you on this episode. I am here with you as a channel of spirit and nature, as a 5-1 reflector in my human design, and as a teacher and you might say a coach to open the unique magical essence that you are here to contribute. Now, I'm going to be talking about both intuitive abilities and manifestation powers in this episode because they actually go hand in hand. Your personal alignment with manifestation power directly impacts your ability to guide, to heal, to intuit, meaning to have your intuition online for your life, as well as to be psychic and have intuitive abilities in service to others. And we need to build a solid spiritual foundation, a solid energetic foundation to allow you to support yourself while you are being in service to others in whatever way that you are. All right, having said that, this is a live podcast, so I would love to hear from those of you who are here, and I can see we have quite a few people here. Drop me a greeting. Hello. Hi, how you doing? What's going on with you today? Tell me about what you are thinking of receiving today, or tell me where you are watching from. And of course, if you're watching in the replay or listening in the replay, we would love to hear from you as well. Now, let's get right on into it. And actually, I'll run over what we're going to do. We've got a lot to do, and I'm super excited about it. We're going to talk about you opening your psychic abilities and why they feel like they're secret or hidden from you. Whether you have them online already or not, there's always more to expand into. And also your manifestation. Again, whatever, what you might have a lot going on for you, but we always want more, right? We're never truly in a plateau. We're never truly finished growing and expanding. And Andy's here sitting in the Sacramento airport waiting to fly home. Well, welcome home very soon. And Tracy's here. Hi, Tracy. So nice to see you. So these are the things we're going to talk about, these couple of points here. I'm also going to be doing a little bit of a ritual, kind of a little invocation. It's something that just came downloaded for this particular episode. Now, it might be something that is also going to be in my upcoming course, and it's a moderate length course. It is something that is foundational to the Ultimate Intuitive Expansion Program, Quantum Resonance Mastery, which registration is opening for that real soon. But this is something that you could take as an introduction to a foundation to opening your abilities in the fullest possible sense and putting them online for being in service to others if that's what you choose. And if you take this course, then you actually get it deducted from the bigger course. But anyway, a little bit of teasing there for you. And you just signed up this morning? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wonderful. I went I wonder if I have my notifications on because I feel like I would have seen that and noticed that you signed up. I'm so excited. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. We got a good party going already. Hi, Karen. Oh, from Stockholm, Sweden. Karen, I have been to Sweden. Oh, it was so beautiful. I'm getting chills remembering it. I was in, oh gosh, how do you pronounce it? Aarhus? And for about, how long was I there? About a week or so, and it was in February. It was over 10 years ago. Yeah, it was actually 10 years ago. It was in 2013. So beautiful, y'all. If you ever get a chance to go to Sweden, so beautiful. I don't know. The energy, I feel like the citizenship there's so much more pride and community than what I'm accustomed to in my, albeit beautiful country. I don't want to talk too much shade about my own country. All right. Okay, so let's get into I was going to say also, as a part of this, we're going to be doing that invocation. And this is live, y'all. That's the fun of doing it live, is that you get to have all of the ebbs and flows of some of my focus and some of my focus on you. So yes, we're going to be doing this invocation that came through for this, and it might be something that's going to be in quantum resonance, manifestation, and magic. Oh, that's right. I was going to put that link in there. So it's definitely, the link to sign up is in the description, however it is that you're watching this. And I've just highlighted it on the screen for those who are here live, just so you have an idea of where to go. And there's early bird pricing right now, so you want to get in on that. All right. Now, what was the other thing? The other thing at the end, if you want to hang out until the end, I'm actually going to divulge a little bit of my personal, and this is very key to say personal, perspective about the state of things in the United States. And I'm not going to say it's political because I'm not here to be teaching or guiding anyone so far as politics are concerned. But I am here. Comes a certain point where if you are listening to someone, you kind of want to know some of their personal perspectives, because it then informs how they care about others or not. Now, this is prompted by someone who made a comment on, I think it was on a Facebook video, and I'm saying this right up front. I mean, it was like the podcast, but it was on my Facebook profile that streamed there. And it is someone named Maria from Iceland. So Maria, if you're listening or watching, I just want to tell you, I wanted to respond to your comment. I saw it as I was like about to go to bed, and it was like, I love this comment and I want to respond to it. Maria was asking me what is my stance about the leadership that is going on, the administration in the United States, in my country. And I wanted to answer it, but I cannot find the comment. It somehow disappeared from Facebook. And I don't know. I searched and I couldn't find it. So, and I didn't get your last name, or I didn't remember your last name. So Maria from Iceland, thank you so much for the question. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And I'm gonna open that up just a little bit at the end. All right. Andy loves Sweden, and Karen says, yes, Sweden is truly beautiful. Let's get into it, shall we? We're going to be talking about some really fun things. And with that, let me run my slate. All right, we're talking about, first, we are talking about psychic secrets. We are talking about your psychic abilities. And going hand in hand with psychic abilities is manifestation abilities, because these operate in the same area. And honestly, intuition, or let's say intuitiveness, being intuitive and being creative, these all happen in at least an overlapping way in the being that we are. And you can even see that in the sense of they're both right-brained processes. And the left brain process is being logic, reasoning, analysis. And so there is, if you think about it as a creativity, as a creative artists basically receive the inspiration and the vision that they will make then into the art from somewhere, So this is I'm comparing this because manifestation is creative, right? It's your creation, and you might be creating prosperity, abundance. You might be creating relationships or certain things in your life that are helping you to live the way that you want to live. And yes, of course, prosperity, abundance is very important. So I'm going to start from that place, manifestation, because that is going to help us to understand how actually manifestation is the foundation for opening your intuitive abilities. Manifestation is how you can feel in touch with your intuition for your life. And this is what it all comes down to. Morphogenetic fields and how you imprint in the morphogenetic fields. So let me tell you what morphogenetic fields are. Morphogenetic fields are the energetic grids that connect all creatures and all particles, all of the matter and all of the beings at a subatomic level. And so for a human being to be able to tap into, to use, to impact the power of this energy matrix of morphogenetic fields, your body must emit a very high frequency wavelength, the total frequency wavelength. You can't compartmentalize your frequency. You can't really compartmentalize your vibration. You might think about this. Sometimes we need to raise our vibration in relation to something so that something else in our life can improve. I am probably not going to be, this isn't literally, this is a figurative I am probably not going to be able to be creating a lot of prosperity or being of service and feeling joyous and happy and overflowing to help others if I have some kind of terrible, abusive, toxic, dragging me down situation in another area of my life. It might be a relationship. If I have a toxic, dragging me down, draining and lowering my vibration in some relationship, then the other situations are going to be impacted overall. You are a whole system. You are one whole system. Your body, your mind, your emotions, your spirit, and all of the energy that you are is one system, a whole system. And just to expand it beyond that, this is a whole system. You and I, the trees, all of the solar system, all of the universe is a whole system. And that's what the morphogenetic fields are communicating. So in a sense, the morphogenetic fields are being impacted by absolutely everything. You, literally you. Also, the collective cacophony of crap that we are creating. The conditioned, if you will, 3D matrix. So we're going to get an example. We're going to learn today how to manifest by understanding that we tap into and impact the morphogenetic fields first. Or you might even say the light fields if you want to shorten it. But morphogenetic is how it works because it is particles, it is beings, and it is subatomic energy. And it's emitting from your body. Why do I say your body? Because again, you are a whole system and you're interdependent of mind, body, spirit, if you want to consider it that way. And the spirit and the mind are more subtle than the body, the physical body. The physical body, there is more light required to manifest your physical body than your mind, than your spirit. And it's in that order. So then the reason why your body has to emit this powerful frequency wavelength is because it is the densest portion of you containing the most empowered light force. You see, we can't leave out the body from the mind, from the spirit. Once again, whole system. And that's how, so if we think about it emitting from our physical body, we're going to talk about how you actually charge up the physical body, though, is by those subtler other bodies of spirit and mind. So this is what we're going to learn today. This is this class, honestly, that we're tapping into for a podcast episode. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to harness energy to allow our bodies to emit this powerful wavelength. Now, the way that we harness energy, the way that we create this powerful vibration that becomes a frequency wavelength that is then emitted in the most practical sense, it is by your non-physical senses on one level. Now, it's also by what you do physically, but we're going to start with your non-physical senses. Your non-physical senses, aka your psychic senses. And sometimes people don't understand that when we say psychic senses, we just mean non-physical. We mean imaginal. We mean the senses that you have that are not your eyes, not your ears. It is your inner eye. It is your inner visualization. It's your emotions as well. And it's your sensing. It is all of the inner sensing that you have. That is a major way that we are consistently tapping into and impacting morphogenetic field, is through emotions, visualizations, sensing, all of those inner senses. You emit frequency from that. And by the way, all of that is then creating the frequency within your body. Because, for example, your emotions are chemicals that are in your physical body. And that is then informing how your hormones are functioning, how you are functioning, what your mood is like, what your attitude is like. And yet you can influence your own emotions. You can allow yourself to have a clarified, a purified, a brightened, a heightened, higher vibrational, meaning positive emotional state. Now, that doesn't mean that we never have negative emotions. No, in fact, those can be very powerful and can find the paradoxical link to it's the negative, as we just call it, negative emotions. The power of negative emotions can fuel it into the positive expression, you see. So all of that you are is valuable and important. And what we're doing in this lesson, this episode, but this lesson, is we are zoning in on how you actually do impact. You do impact all the time with your emotions, visualization, and sensing that are occurring within. And this allows you to emit a high frequency. And therefore, thereby, you make an imprint in the morphogenetic field. And then this energy this will call in the energy and the elements and the particles, as we said, to fill it. Now, said differently is you, with all of your senses, you build a container in the fields of light. You build a container in order for it to be filled. So let's just take an example. I'm going to slow down here a second, but I'm getting very excited. Let's take an example of this. In your energy, call up right now the thing that you desire to have manifest in your life. Is there a container for it? And I mean an energetic container for it, and actually a physical container for it. Let's say you desire, in an authentic way, multiple millions of dollars. Do you have an energetic container to be able to hold that, to be attuned to it? And in the physical world, if you received multiple millions of dollars, then what? And you can just take a moment to imagine that. That will actually, the imagining of it in the physical world will create it in the morphogenetic field. So what I mean by that, if I imagine receiving multiple millions of dollars, having multiple millions of dollars, I'm like, oh, charities, oh, people I want to help, oh, businesses I want to create, how I want to, make things better on this planet, who I want to help, how I want to help, and what I want to channel through that one resource in order to create on this world. Even taking a moment to allow that, to make sure that you do have that container created. Or maybe it is a relationship. So sometimes someone might be in a relationship that isn't correct for them, and they desire another relationship, and they may be partially in and partially out of the other, whatever. Do they have a container for the new relationship? Which in some cases means no longer having the old relationship at all. In some cases, it just may be that you need to have the actual availability in your energy to move into it physically. So we're starting at the baseline of it being energetic, because that is what informs, the energy is what informs physical action. It's always the energy first, then physical reality. So once again, as we say, in order for it has to emit from your body this high frequency wavelength in order for it to imprint on the morphogenetic fields. But before it can get to your body, we have to create it on the energy side of it. So all of this is also to validate the fact that your psychic senses, your creative senses, your intuitive senses are all occurring on the imaginal plane. This cannot be overstated. It cannot be stated too many times, because many of us, if not all of us, are conditioned to think that it's just your imagination and therefore it's not real. However, all of the things that are becoming material reality, or even our material reality, all of the things that eventually will be material reality are first existing on the plane of the imaginal. So how do you want to contribute to it? How do you want to image on that plane so that it can become a material reality, a physical reality? And just to expand on this here, I just recorded a podcast yesterday with a guest. Her name's Kim Coots, and that episode will be released a week or so. I don't know what my schedule looks like for that right now, but it's a wonderful conversation. And Kim is an evidential medium, and we have well, we cry a lot in the episode. I'll just tell you that. And anyway, one of the things that we talked about is that people, well, when Kim, how she entered into her mediumship was from the side of being a skeptic, but having experiences when she was in a state of loss and grief. A loved one who had transitioned was sending signs or showing up. And from a place of being a skeptic, now here's the thing, on the unconscious level, sort of unconscious to her, but maybe not really, because she needed to be with this loved one who had transitioned, she was imprinting, creating containers in the morphogenetic field for that person to appear. And her loved one was appearing. But because she had beliefs that were like, wait, how does this work? So then she didn't really know what was happening because of how the conscious mind, the left brain, is trained to say, oh, well, that's not real. Well, she had to pursue, eventually, she had to go find out if it was real. Found out indeed that it is. And that sometimes people think that they're not psychic and they want to, or when they're trying to become psychic, if you will, and I'm using that language intentionally, trying to become psychic means you're not really doing your psychic abilities, that they'll think, wait, is it real or is it just my imagination, or am I making this up? And the thing is, those all happen in the same place. Just like a home, where a home is, there is love and there's conflict that occurs, but that is still the home. It isn't, you're not making up the love and you're not making up the conflict. It's all occurring in the home. It's all happening in the language and the emotions and the behaviors. All of those realms, if you will, are occurring in the home for both the conflict and the love. So it is with your psychic senses or your manifestation senses. They are all occurring on the plane of the imaginal. So your positive imagining as a creative force is working for you. Now, things float across that imaginal plane, and it's totally okay, right? We can have some fear fantasies float across it. Doesn't mean it's going to become immediately a reality. Maybe not, but if there's a lot of repetition, it will. And that's, again, how we are already creating, how we are already manifesting. Just like in the home, if the predominant energy is love, then that home will be a nourishing place. So this is what we want to be aware of and utilize properly, is our imaginal senses as we interact with, engage on the imaginal plane and harness that energy. That is creating the container in the morphogenetic field, or the light fields, if that's easier for you to remember it, in order for the manifestation, the relationship, the psychic information and intuitive awareness to fill that container as you create it. I'm going to take a pause here because I want to see what's going on in the comments. And I'm super enthusiastic today and super excited. But I want to see what's going on. Let's see. Jason. Oh, hi, Jason. This is so fascinating. Is there literature on this? Jason, that is so interesting. You're not the Jason I went to high school with, are you? Because I know someone with your exact name that I went to high school with. Is there literature on the morphogenetic fields I imagine that you are asking about? I know that Rupert Sheldrake was the an initial person to actually hypothesize, if you will, or theorize about morphogenetic fields. And I've only read a couple of articles, but I don't know if there's like a full study on it. A lot of this is from, honestly, like my study with, quite frankly, Saint Germain is teaching a lot about this. So there's like pieces that come to me through my investigation. And but so far as you are the Jason I went to high school with, how come you're no, wait, it says YRS. I don't know what that maybe means yes. But anyway. All right, let me see back to where. All right, so I'm super enthusiastic about this because it is something to be enthusiastic about. So it all comes down to using the imaginal plane. Now, there are two ways that we use the subtle imaginal plane. The way that we are using our abilities, our intuitive or psychic abilities, the way that we are harnessing our creative energy and powers in order to create the containers in the light fields or the morphogenetic fields. Two ways to, kind of just to make it simple, to overly simplified ways. Subtle and consistent attunements of your frequency, and this is necessary and impactful, so that means every day. Where are you dwelling? What are you taking in, and how is that affecting your vibration, which becomes your frequency? So here we are today together, and that's great. We are all dwelling in a community, in a conversation about this. So this is great, good for all of us, right? And then we might be doing meditation or some other kinds of spiritual practice. We might be having high vibrational conversations. We might be just loving others, people in our life. We also are working against a subtle and consistent deluge of a lot of negativity, a lot of conflict, a lot of resistance, a lot of rejecting of humans, and a lot of avoidance and indifference of actually being connected to one another, and a lot of skepticism about the human capabilities. So we want to recognize that our subtle and consistent attunements of our frequency are very important, to be very intentional about it regularly, daily, hourly, quite frankly, right? That is necessary and impactful. So that is our consistent and subtle kind of attunement. Then we can make significant and swift shifts in our frequency. And one way to do this is ritual. Having some kind of, now a ritual honestly could be one day that you're going to go do a meditation and you're getting into it and you're like, oh, we're going to do some deep work. And it might be self-guided, or it might be something that is a guide track. You might go to a class, you might go to a sound bath, you might be having an ecstatic yogic experience. There are many different ways. And one thing that I teach, and I'm going to reference the class that I have coming up. Oh, this is Jason Hargrove that I went to high school with. Okay, got it. Oh, wait, I want to see Isabel from Tasmania. Welcome. Hi, nice to see you. Nice to meet you. So ritual, what ritual is basically being able to focus your awareness, focus your energy so that you can harness it and it can charge up so that it is aligned with your intention, the heart's desire being an imprint from the soul, meaning the soul is the governor, if you will, the higher aspect of you, what we tend to call our higher self, that the soul has imprinted some essential desires in your heart for your journey, for what it is that you want to create in that large aspect. So what ritual does, one of the things you might say that ritual does is it helps us to focus our energy, helps us to focus our emotions, our mind, our spiritual energy. It helps us to then hold it so that it charges up. And then it also helps us to direct it and then create that container in the morphogenetic field. The other thing about a ritual is that it is a pattern interrupter, because we are conditioned in certain patterns, whether conditioned by ourself or conditioned by that 3D matrix stuff that I was talking about. And therefore, as a ritual is meant, as this kind of ritual comes in to help you to harness your energy and charge it up so that it can be emitted as that frequency, it will necessarily then interrupt a pattern. It's a pattern interrupt, and something that we use in neurolinguistic programming. So what is a ritual? A ritual is anything that helps you to do that. There are certain styles of ritual. One simple little makeup of a ritual is something that might have an incantation or an invocation where there's something that is spoken, because as something is spoken, it focuses our awareness and it also puts it in the body as it actually vibrates through the vocal cords. There might be movement. There might be involvement of, like I have a candle here, might be involvement of something physical, as in, crystals or a candle. That's just one way that you can consider a ritual. But a ritual could also be sitting down to meditate and journal and harness the energy about those higher mind desires that are imprinted on your heart. Many different ways that you could perform a ritual to help you to swiftly and significantly interrupt a pattern and create a whole new attunement to your frequency, so that now you are emitting that very high frequency from your body, so that you can have the shifts that you intend to have in a soul aligned way, so that you can create those containers in the morphogenetic fields so that your manifestation can fill it. All right, now we're going to talk about psychic sensing. The secrets to being able to have your psychic abilities working for you. Remembering that psychic abilities are your imaginal senses. Therefore, we all have imaginal senses. We all are imagining things, thinking things, visualizing things, sensing things all the time. There are all kinds of senses that are occurring that are in the subtler arena of you that then are going to be informing, literally coming into the form of your physical body. Your imaginal senses are like the burnishing iron that etches and builds into the field. You know what a burnishing iron is? It's an iron that you can carve into wood because it is a hot iron that is actually able to burn in the right way. That is what your imaginal senses are. And they are also used in the sense of when we think of being psychic or having intuitive abilities, those senses, those imaginal senses, are also used as receivers of what is already in the morphogenetic fields, what is already created in the light fields, receivers and translators of what is already there. As receivers, they will be able to shape what you sense by that frequency that you're already holding. You know, it's like you can't understand a language that you're not speaking, and therefore in how your senses are, your psychic abilities or your senses are attuned in the moment, that is how they will be able to sense. And having said that, people will say, "Oh, I've never been psychic. I've not had those other things." First of all, they're comparing themselves to someone else, and they say that person is psychic or that person is a medium, and in my comparison to them, which you can't possibly know what's going on with another person, in my comparison, I have negated myself. And that is, therefore, your psychic senses are speaking that language or understanding that language from the field. They're also translators in the sense that whatever you hear through those filters, through those containers that are created, that is what you're going to experience. And so, as I use the example of Kim Coots, who's on my podcast, that while Kim, when she had her loved one who had passed, actually it was two, as you'll hear in the episode, while on a conscious level, she didn't believe in after-death communication. She said it made her uncomfortable, and yet she needed to have the experience of this loved one who had transitioned. She needed to, so she was creating the containers for it. Therefore, her psychic senses were speaking the language of communicating after death with her beloved. So it is both what we're conscious of and what we are unconscious of. And if we consciously align it, then it's all going to, then that'll feed the unconscious aspects of you. The subconscious mind will also form around that. So you see, whatever, if it feels exciting to you, if you came to this episode because I put on the thumbnail psychic secrets and you're like, ooh, what's that? That's cool. You were titillated by that. That titillation, that interest, that curiosity is a resonance of that deeper imprint on your heart that your soul has placed there. And as we have said, every single person is psychic. It's a fundamental way that we operate. Now, there are a lot of things that feed into this to help you to be able to have your psychic abilities, have your intuition for your life. Once again, intuition for your life and your capacity to create and manifest. These are so overlapping, so interdependent. But what I want to tell you about tapping or unwriting the secrets, if you will, making them no longer secret to you about your psychic abilities, is to start positively using your imaginal senses, visualization, sensing, and doing it creatively. That is your intuitive ability working. And just to give a specific example, my beloved kitty cat Barnabas passed on October 28th of 2024. And I needed, I'm already a medium and a psychic and an animal communicator. And I needed to continue to have my relationship with him. And so I would imagine him, I am still doing this, but I'm just in the area right after his death when the grief is most intense, those earlier days and weeks and months. I'm still in the earlier months. Anyway, I would imagine holding him. I would imagine him walking up and cuddling me. I would imagine hearing his purr and his meow. I would imagine looking into his eyes. And while I was in the denser aspects of grief, and sometimes I visit that land of dense grief again, I would cry and I would ache a little bit because, I still felt at that time I was feeling the absence of his physical body, but I needed to feel the presence of who he truly is. And I needed to be engaged with him. And I've continued that. And so he has made visitations that are all but physical, as much real, if you will, as they can be without his physical body materializing there, both in my dreams and both in while I'm awake, walking around my home. And then when he astral projected into my dreams many times, and I was sharing it with my husband to where I'm like weeping. Well, my husband was like, I really want to experience that. And then he did. Just a few nights ago, he experienced it because he also is he's also looking at photos and allowing his emotions to charge up. That's what we're doing. We're looking at photos. We're dwelling in the energy of our relationship and our love. And that's how mediumship can come online for us, whether it's for the first time or again. And that is what a medium does now, first of all, on the other side, the past loved one, if we're talking about that kind of mediumship, does help to align you with the medium where there's the right kind of frequency match. Doesn't mean that they're the best medium or the most talented medium. That's, again, not the point. The point is a frequency match of different things. And so it may be that, I do get a lot of mediumship for people who've lost their animals because I love animals so much. And their animal family members, they would like a medium who can have that compassion, that actual lived experience. And so that's for an example of a frequency match that your dog on the other side may actually guide you to someone like me to have that mediumship session. So what a medium does, a professional medium, is creating a container of sensing into the light fields. And because of the frequency match, then the past loved one can come and be in that space. Now, the medium is also creating the frequency match from their side that this is possible, that I can listen into spirit, see into the realms of spirit, sense into the realms of spirit, that alone too, as well as creating the container for it to occur. And any of those things that are, again, I'll just state, that might seem curious or titillating to you, that is evidence of your own abilities. So lean into that, continue to be curious about it, and create from that space. All right, so tying all of this together, because some people who are here listening to this are what I like to call way showers. Now, there's this term that has been used before called light worker. So that might be what you equate this with. I prefer way shower. That's just my preference, but I'm just telling you what I mean by that. Someone is here who's here to overflow from blessing to be of service. And so that might be that you are a healer, an intuitive, a coach, something along those lines as a profession. Or it may be that those are the things that are happening in your life, even if you're not like professional from it. But the point is that in order to be a way shower, to be a person in service, which was how we're wrapping all of this up together, is that manifestation and service go hand in hand. In the same way that manifestation and your intuitive abilities go hand in hand, manifestation is necessary to continue to be of service. Because being of service means to be overflowing from the blessing. Now, the thing that a person who's a way shower is working against in order to have manifestation is because Manifestation in the 3D matrix, in the 3D fields, has all these rules that and patterns of behavior that we're not interested in. It's kind of, it might be even difficult for us to connect with. So we feel like we have to play a game that we don't A, know the rules to, B, don't want to know the rules to, and C, just it's not fun for us. That's what we're kind of working against. But we're not really. That is the illusion. Because the truth is that the universe is more magical than the 3D matrix. And so what you can do in order to is to tap into that magic. But it isn't about playing the games and the rules of it's actually using the 3D matrix. It's not falling under and letting it use you. So for manifestation that we need in order to continue to be of service, using those same senses, the imaginal senses, in order to receive healing guidance as you manifest, as you do to manifest. It's the same thing. We need to cultivate the stability and confidence and trust in our ability to create abundance and flow as the ground on which we stand in order to be overflowing with abundance and prosperity, or overflowing with service, allowing the universe to serve you. This is what you create in the morphogenetic field as a way shower, is the container for the universe, the magical universe, to serve you so that you can flow that out. And let me tell you, this universe is by the law of love. It is by, and if you, this is not just some woo-woo thing. The fact is, this universe is expanding. That is a fact. That is an observable scientific reality. Universe is expanding. By the law of expansion, it means that it is evolving, it is growing, it is living, it is moving toward life. This universe is a whole system, as we said. Therefore, in a whole system or in an ecosystem, every part of this ecosystem, thinking of a garden, the frequency of its health is calibrating absolutely everything else in the whole system. So that means that in a closed system that is expanding, therefore it is moving in the trajectory of existence, of love, of growth, of living. That means it is not dying. Therefore, it doesn't need to be in conflict as its main rule. It feels like that, though, doesn't it, in society? It feels like conflict. It feels like turbulence. It feels like resistance. It feels like negating everybody else. It feels like that's the way you win this game. But this game is the lower vibration. It is not the overarching magical vibration of how things are. When that crap, the negative field is amplifying, it is so that we can learn from it, so that it can be noisier, so that it can be uglier, that we then say no to it. The negative field is showing itself to us so that we can negate it. But not in the sense of in resistance, but so we can embrace it and say, let's bring harmony here. Let's bring love here. Getting in on it. So the way that a way shower manifests is not letting the 3D conditioned matrix be your ruler. And anytime we say, I can't because of this, because of this, because of this, we are appointing that fill in the blank this as our master. And so I can't because I don't have enough time means that you've decided, and we all say it, so we've decided. I have at times decided when I say I don't have enough, I can't because of not having enough time. I've decided that time is now my ruler, that time is now my authority, that time is now my master. And I'm letting time use me, and time's an illusion. So, but what is really meant to occur here is that I am able to resource and utilize time as a tool. I can't because I don't have enough money. That means that money is greater and like just out of reach for me. And I'm not saying I'm pragmatic and go like, charge up a $1 grillion on a credit card just to have a party. Of course not. We are talking about working practically and magically at the same time, but with the intention of working magically. And magic is also common. Magic is how we live. How do we become? How are we emerging? How is consciousness emerging? By this essence. that is in a way magical, but it's also common magical, practical magic. So we're seeking that deeper alignment. And that is how we are able to have a full occupation of you as you are designed to be, the full opening of your essence in order to contribute. So we got some other things to do here. So we'll head into the next thing. All right, now we're going to do a little bit of we're going to do 2 more things in this episode. We're going to do a little bit of an invocation. As I said, downloaded to me today before we were to go up. And that's the one thing. And then the other thing is I'm going to do a little personal share about some stuff that's going on in our, especially in the United States, in our country. But of course, that is in our world. Now, I am giving a little, I think it might be a little bit of a preview, but it is what I want to share with you is the course. Again, it's a medium-sized course because it's got 3 3-hour classes that, just a ton of information and a ton of resources that you'll be able to take away in order to, continue to impact your own life and your service on this planet. And it is these, getting the link again, it's quantum resonance, manifestation, and magic. And it's starting really quickly, but if you are listening to or watching this at some other time, still click through on the link because it might be happening again. Or it might be on demand so you could get it streaming. And by the way, you don't have to, a lot of people do my courses, I don't know, a lot or whatever, but there are people who prefer to take things passively and stream it and then go at their own pace and have it. And that's perfectly valid as well. So however you want to partake of it, people report absolute, complete benefits and results no matter how they partake of it. Hi, Alana, and hi, Karen. Karen saying having constant chills during this conversation. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's resonance. Those are spirit chills. We're both creating them, so thank you so much. Alana's here. Hi. You like Wayshower, Andy? Andy likes Wayshower. Yeah, so the name of my teaching is my teaching platform, I guess you might say, my teaching organization. It's not always that organized though, because it's like through my own energy, which is like boop, ba-doop, boop, boo. No, I'm teasing myself. I actually love to be very organized. I have to be a bit organized in order to get anything done. Wayshower University. That's what I was getting to. That is the name of my teaching, of my school. And I'm trying to light a candle here. I guess I can't talk and use fire at the same time. Oh, it lit. Excellent. I'm going to put it up here in case you're watching the video. You can see it, or you can just sense it by knowing that it's here. We're going to do a ritual. We're going to do an invocation. So I want to talk about quantum resonance, manifestation, and mastery. First of all, the way these courses tend to come through, I'm always in all kinds of energies, and then they come through one morning where Spirit says, do this. And I'm like, great. And it's because of 2 things. I've had enough experience to be able to teach it. And also I've had enough experience that I need to teach it in order to learn it more. It's like both. So anyway, this is for when we are struggling with manifestation. And if you would like to learn spiritual magic, and this is magic, M-A-G-I-C-K, because when we put a K on the end of it, that is a nod to the fact that it's actual energy transformation kind of magic, as opposed to like stage illusion magic, And it's a reference to there are some aspects of this that are very much like ceremonial or high magic, because we're based in a part of my background is in Hermeticism. I was thinking of another word that was getting in the way. Hermeticism and Hermetic principles. So what we're doing, if you're struggling with manifestation and magic, or being able to have that stable flow, you're not alone. And a lot of us, and from time to time, we are struggling to manifest with clarity and consistency. We feel like sometimes things are hit or miss, or maybe I feel often, no, negate that. I have occasionally felt stuck on one thing. A lot of other things are working. I'm stuck on one thing. And we need some real practical magical techniques so that we have methods of manifestation through which we can flow that energy into the morphogenetic field to create the containers. And what's cool about this is that there will be many different techniques. And one that I'm going to talk about, my invocations that are downloaded, they're channeled, and they're charged up with power in themselves. And what it can offer to you is reliable things that you can use over and over, but also templates from which you will evolve your own magical and manifestation skills. Now, the other thing key here is we're going to be talking about bridging the gap between intuition and action. And we're also going to be aligning. It's always about aligning with the soul's resonance. And so this is why this is called quantum resonance. It is a nod to how we're going to learn how to impact and create within the morphogenetic fields through coherence and resonance. Now, this is also a foundation for us to be able to either feel our intuition and our intuitive abilities, and whether it's for the first time or as an upgrade. Because again, this is the beginning of my total intuitive ability development program. And the cool thing about this is that sometimes people feel like they're not psychic or they're nervous about that, and they don't know whether that's even, but they do want to feel like, oh, I'm connected to my intuition. At any rate, the manifestation and magical practices will get us in touch with our subtle energy bodies in a new and aligned way, no matter where we are in our experience. So so excited about it. And just to create a new momentum toward your dreams, a new powerful momentum. So I want to tell you about invocations because that's what we're about to do. As I said, an invocation is one kind of a ritual, or at least one piece of a bigger ritual. It could be either one. It can be a ritual in and of itself, or it can be one piece of it. And so these invocations that I channel, they are pattern interrupting, frequency attuning conduits of high frequency energy that aid in shifting your frequency so that you can create in the light fields. Being able to calibrate you to a very high wavelength that is necessary to make an impact in the light fields so that you can tap into and shift and change the energetic grids that connect, as we said before, all creatures, all particles, all matter on a subatomic level in order to utilize them and to take advantage of or to harness this energy matrix, again, as opposed to the negative energy matrix, so that your body can you can have it deeply embodied, emit that high frequency wavelength. So we are always intuiting and manifesting from the light fields, from the morphogenetic fields all the time. However, we are basically like running against the wind, a very powerful wind because of the BS energy fields, and we are operating also from default by programming, decades of conditioning, running patterns of energy that we are unconscious of and disempowered by. But exactly who you are. Your soul's desires that are untarnishably imprinted, stamped on your heart. That is what we need to change everything, because I got dizzy. I got such a download of energy there, because we need you to change everything. Because doesn't it stand to reason that in order to change everything, we need everyone? And you are made correctly. You've just been working with someone else's tools and someone else's words. We all have been. I'm just saying it to you directly because I want us to all feel it. And I am speaking to you directly as well as to myself directly. All right, we're going to do a little invocation here. So however it is that you are available to become a part of this, you are welcome to. And this is a cosmic alignment magical ritual. Cosmic alignment magic is what we are going to do here. It's a short practice. It's something that we are addressing, something that we are practicing, and it's going to be amazing. Again, like being in the energy together to do this work in quantum resonance manifestation of magic. And we're going to do a celestial gate invocation now. So if you're able to, you can become very quiet. You could close your eyes. You can breathe along with this, and you can say these words out loud. If you are operating heavy machinery or you need your full conscious awareness, please do not close your eyes. Please do not alter your awareness, but you can contemplate it as we are moving along. So I invite you to participate however you can. And I'm going to turn on a little bit of some tones that will help us to alter into this as well. All right. I trust you can still hear me. We're going to do an invocation, and remembering that this invocation is calling in celestial energies, cosmic energies, tapping into the essence. And in this, I invite you to feel it deeply. Use your inner imaginal senses, whether it is to picture or visualize anything that would be in alignment with this. And also to take a moment to pick something that you are intending to manifest. Take that moment now and perhaps take a breath, 1 to 3 breaths, so that you can call this up, and I'm going to do the same. And as you are calling this up, please know that it is real. The intention, the desire that you have is already received in the fields of light. And now the question is whether you can, or whether you will choose to allow it fully. And what can happen in this invocation or other practices such as this is that the energy can be emphasized, the light awareness can be emphasized into your intention, into your desired manifestation, which you are holding, your unique creation you are holding now. And you can allow the static that might be interfering in this frequency, allow that static to be melted away as you devote and commit and deeply sense and allow. And now sometimes when we're doing this, we might feel, there's still some static, but that's okay because we've added a layer of the light to it. Now any and all things can happen in such of an experience as this. But what is certain is that you are lending your attention, intention, and your creative energy to this desired manifestation. And if you choose, by the words that will be spoken, you can tap into the co-creative powers of those essences upon which we will be calling. And so in the following here, I'm going to speak aloud the invocation. You may feel free to repeat aloud or in your heart. Now holding your manifestation in your awareness, I call upon cosmic creation. Sun, moon, planets, and stars. I am the essence of your essence. I am the flow of your flow. I am the power of your power. And so take a moment here again to call up that representation of that which you are desiring to manifest, holding that in your awareness. Whether this is spiritual or material, hold the vision now. Once again, as the invocation continues, feel free to repeat aloud or in your heart. I open my heart, I open my mind, create within what's soul aligned. I open my heart, I open my mind, create within what's soul aligned. I open my heart, I open my mind, create within what's soul aligned. And continuing the invocation, I will speak the rest very slowly. I attune to cosmic currents of creation. I open the container in the light fields. As my desire releases, so it is translated to the realm of nature, magnetizing the elements to shape form. I hold open the container. Oh, fill this container with the co-created blessing. A blessing upon me is a blessing upon one and all. As it is spoken, so shall it be. As surely as I breathe, so shall it be. All right. And you can come on back, and I'm going to turn off our music now, and it goes off abruptly when I'm going live like this. All right. Just a little invocation there. You know, and I will go back and retroactively, we're on this live now, but if you're watching in the replay or you give it a minute or two after I end it, then I will pop that in the description, and you can copy it and reuse it however you like. So that's what I have for you. And one more invitation to quantum resonance, manifestation, and magic. That is the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest little sample of some of the rituals that we'll be doing. But we'll be doing other ones too. We will be doing that cosmic alignment magic. We will be doing angelic theurgy. We will be doing some candle magic and elemental magic, and using our voice. But we're primary to all of that is that we're going to be learning more deeply, not just learning, but attuning to the principles of quantum resonance and that aligned manifestation. So, yeah. Alana says, that was great. Thank you. I will watch again for that. Oh, good. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Thank you, Karen. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, that's right. I have one more thing I promised. I almost forgot, but Spirit reminded me. So let's shift. All right. I had a question from Maria from Iceland. Thank you again, Maria, for this question. And I'm paraphrasing the question because, again, I went back to try to find it, but it disappeared from the meta matrix. But it was something to the effect of, can you please speak to your position or your perspective about the United States current administration, something along those lines. And now I want to address that activism, political and social activism, is an expression of spirituality. And there are people for whom that is a central part of their spiritual mission. For example, Marianne Williamson. Before I came on this podcast, I was watching her speak, and I was listening to it, so I didn't see where she was speaking, but it was some kind of like Democratic Party, like she was vying for some position. I was watching. I didn't get to see what it said on the screen. Anyway, and at any rate, that is a person for whom clearly it is her major part of her spiritual mission to be politically and socially active. I have another dear friend named Stephanie C. Weinman, who we've done classes together, workshops together, and it is a major part of her spiritual mission as well. Now, it is not a part of how I serve, not significantly so. It's personal for me. And the reason it's not is simply because I work in containers one-on-one with someone, as well as group coaching, and where people are vulnerable. And there are, because of the way that these issues are right now, I would never want anyone to feel uncomfortable because of what they, of something that I'm speaking about. That's actually a tiny part of it. And that is to say that in the work that I do, that is where it's either one-on-one or in groups where people are receiving attunements and operating with one another. We don't talk about politics there. There's also plenty of other places to talk about politics. Plenty of other places. Now, on the other hand, that's a small reason. The main reason it's not a part of it is, well, for example, in human design, I'm a 5-1. That one line is investigation. And so for me to feel as though I can share something enough to show the way to someone, to teach it, or to give even an opinion about a certain topic, I have to investigate it deeply. I have to investigate it all the way. Like, that's the ground upon which I stand. And if I don't, then it's not for me to share, like to overflow. And thinking of social issues, thinking of how much misdirection there is in media, oh, there's so much investigation to do in order to feel like I have a clear way that I am seeing this. I see all of the angles, and I don't feel called to spend that much time investigating it so that I can show the way for others, so I can overflow. I spend a lot of time on it, to my estimate already, so that I can guide myself. And that's like my capacity is guiding myself. So I'm contextualizing this to say that I don't entertain, the only time I entertain political or social conversations is in a safe personal container. I have a person I have literally sisters who have completely opposing ways that they see social and political issues opposing to me. I have a dear friend that it's kind of like more like a sister to me than even my biological sisters. We have very different ways. We have safe conversations with one another. So I think it is important to have safe conversations. My conversations, though, are personal, not public, because again, I don't feel well equipped enough to be responsible in having those conversations. So what I am sharing here is to not open the door for public political conversations. It is me sharing something personal. And therefore, I'm asking for that to be respected as personal. But again, there are times when things get so heightened that we actually are interested in what someone who's putting themselves up on the stupid YouTube and podcast crap and saying, hey, come listen to me teach you something spiritual, that you kind of want to know where they are personally. So I'm going to share a sliver of that. And that is to say, at least Maria from Iceland said, how do you feel about your president? And I will say this very simply. I did not vote for that person. I did not vote for that person. I could say a lot more. Again, that is burning in my gut. A lot of it is pretty obvious, I think. And at the same time, I hope for every single person that they always have the capacity to do some work that will help all and harm none. I hold out that hope. I hold out that hope, even if it's one thing. In my investigation for my own personal guidance, I don't know if I've seen it. I think maybe there's a sliver of something, and I can't even recall it, can't even call it up. But the principles of helping all and harming none are important for my life, and I don't see that in this administration. I hold out the hope with my fingers crossed, a magical act that this can happen. The other thing I will say is that I do have hope in what my country, this country has been founded on, which includes checks and balances. And so that's great, you know? And what I will say as a public observation, a public conversation is we all need to be very cautious and discerning about what we listen to and how we let it affect our vibration, because a lot of it is gossip. And it's like, I was just watching The West Wing, which is a super old show, but it's, about being in the Oval Office. And they were talking about news cycles. Oh, the news cycles. And I was like, oh my gosh, people who are both in politics and journalism, it's like they have to tolerate like they're still in high school, because a news cycle is just basically a gossip cycle. So just let's please be discerning about what we're allowing to be in our energy and for how long. And that's not even to say that's on all aspects of any political front, any of the issues. Let's just be discerning. That's all I have to say about it. And there you have it. I'm going to check the comments one more time before I leave. Tracy says, hearts, and Tia says, perfect synchronicity today. Thank you for this. Tricia, politics have its place, and yet I've been wrestling with this topic too. Oh, Tia, it's so nice to see you. Wonderful. Oh, hi. Andy says, thank you, and thank you too. Okay. Whew. Big and long one today. Big and long one. Ooh, that sounds dirty. I'm gonna wrap it up with something dirty. When I say it was big and long episode. I enjoyed it. I had a wonderful time. Now I'm going live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I didn't go live on this past Wednesday because I couldn't sleep, and I just didn't have the energy to serve. And so I took a mental health day. And so find me Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific. Check the description here because there are free things as well, like a higher self meditation and an animal intuitive mini course. And those are also ways you can sign up for my newsletter. And that's really important, because if you sign up for my newsletter, actually sign up. That's how you can get discounts. For example, that's the only way that I give coupon codes for courses, including quantum resonance, manifestation, and magic. And there are more emails going out about that. There is a coupon that expires on in a few days. So join the newsletter, because I make announcements to remind you of when I'm going live. And usually I think pretty much every time I announce whatever the subject of the podcast will be. I am also recording interviews, but I'm doing those on record, and then I'm going to be publishing them. I may actually play segments of them when I go live like this. So, but join the newsletter so you can get all the announcements and the good stuff. Andy says, well said, I feel the same. Those principles are important to me, and I will spend my energy staying in the vibration that helps the person next to me while I continue to hope. Oof. Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much. That's what I have for you in this episode. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.